Hezbollah's gold mine has caught fire as the IDF reveals the economic blow it landed in Beirut. Yesterday, an IDF spokesman gave a look at the bunker that Hassan Nasrallah built underneath a hospital in Beirut, the capital of Lebanon. It was his main headquarters for years, and now it is being used to store $500 million in cash and gold that the terrorist organization uses as its wartime treasury. Meanwhile, a senior member of Hezbollah's financial system has also been eliminated as the Air Force delivered powerful airstrikes on the southern Beirut neighborhoods where Hezbollah has its main stronghold in the country. Amidst all of this, Israel has a document of principles to the United States regarding Lebanon, which could be called Resolution 1701 upgraded. In Gaza, the IDF continues to dismantle the remaining Hamas formations, but Israelis are also in shock to hear the news of a serious case of espionage. 7 Jewish Israelis are accused of taking photographs of IDF bases and critical infrastructure and passing the photographs to Iranian intelligence agents in exchange for money. Let's dive into the details. I'm Yair Pinto, and this is your Boots on the Ground report about what is happening in Israel on the 381st day of the war against Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis in Yemen, and all the Shiite militias in Iraq and Syria, all of which are getting their marching orders from the head of the axis of evil in the Middle East, the Islamic Republic of Iran. Before we start, please click the subscribe button and follow us. We've reached 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Thank you for watching, standing, and praying for the peace of Jerusalem and standing with Israel in this war. It's amazing, and we couldn't have done this without you. In recent days, the IDF has escalated its efforts to damage the economic infrastructure of Hezbollah in what appears to be a new campaign in the ongoing war in the north. At the center of the activity is the Al-Qard Al-Hassan Bank, which serves as the main financial network of the organization. The IDF spokesman, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, made a statement to the media on Monday evening in which he revealed details about the scope of the activity, saying, "We attacked 20 targets of the bank, most of them in Dahya. One of the targets is an underground money warehouse, which contained a stockpile of cash and gold worth tens of millions of dollars. Underneath the Al-Sahel hospital in Beirut, one of Nasrallah's bunkers is found. At least $500 million in bills and gold are stored there." Admiral Hagari also showed the assembled journalists a 3D computer-generated model of the vault that he was describing, that was built under the Al-Sahel hospital in Beirut. A short time later, the director of the hospital, Fadi Alama, denied the claims that his hospital was built on top of a Hezbollah facility and asked the Lebanese army to visit the hospital to see for themselves and show the world what they found. A short word of explanation is in order here. The Al-Qard Al-Hassan Bank, which was founded in the 1980s as a charity, has developed into a powerful financial institution that currently serves over 200,000 customers and managers most of Hezbollah's economic activity. If they lose their ability to utilize the bank, they will quickly lose the support of a large percentage of their members, many of whom are only part of Hezbollah because of the money and other benefits that they get from it. Previous generations of Hezbollah fighters were motivated by ideology and religion, but most of the younger members only see it as a job. Israel has long been aware of this, so we work smart, not just hard. The IDF does not just fight Hezbollah on the ground. Israel is also suffocating Hezbollah's economic flow as a terrorist organization that works on cash, mainly United States dollars, and gold. But the IDF also attacked Hezbollah's financial networks in the cyber realm, gathering information about the organization's financial relationships. I'm sure that in the coming days and weeks, managers of banks all over the Middle East, Europe, North Africa, and probably also Latin America will be getting visits from local law enforcement agents telling them that certain accounts are being frozen and even seized. These attacks on hard assets of Hezbollah undermine the organization's sense of security as well as their ability to function. Getting back to Admiral Hagari's briefing, he explained to the international media that Lebanon has been in a deep financial crisis since 2019, and that Hezbollah took advantage of this crisis to strengthen its foothold and its position in Lebanon. The organizations we attacked are entities that sit under the terrorist organization Hezbollah and pretend to be civilian organizations when in fact their goal is one and only: strengthening the organization's terrorist capabilities. This is how Hezbollah created a state within a state. He added some more details about the bunker which holds the majority of Hezbollah's assets, saying that Israel has gathered information about it for years. He added that it is in the heart of Beirut, under a hospital on Durham Street, number 7. This bunker is deliberately placed under the hospital, and from both sides of it, you can see the buildings, and underneath them, there are the entrances to shafts to enter the bunker. Hezbollah is storing inside this bunker at least $500 million and gold. This money could have gone to the reconstruction of Hezbollah. He followed up this explanation with a warning, saying that Air Force aircrafts are monitoring the compound. We are monitoring and will continue to monitor it. We call on citizens of Lebanon and the government institutions in Lebanon and other international organizations do not allow Hezbollah to keep money under a hospital. Hagari also explained some of the ways that Iran sends money to Hezbollah, saying that Iran transfers money to Hezbollah in 3 main ways. 1, through the transfer of oil and money from Iran to Syria. The oil is sold in Syria to various companies, and it is transferred through Hezbollah's transfer unit, Unit 4400, to the territory of Lebanon and into the pockets of the terrorist organization. This is tens of millions of dollars. Second, Iran flies cash to Lebanon under diplomatic cover. The same money that comes from the Quds Force's independent oil sales directly to the Iranian embassy in Beirut, and from there to Hezbollah. The third way, according to Hagari, is the promotion of additional economic initiatives by Hezbollah under the auspices of Iran, including the export of gas to Syria and the establishment of factories in Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, and Turkey. This axis was managed by Muhammad Jafar Qasir, the commander of Unit 4400 in Hezbollah. He managed the terrorist organization's main source of income for years until we eliminated him in Beirut at the beginning of October. A few hours ago, we also eliminated his replacement in Syria. With this last statement, Hagari confirmed reports that surfaced earlier in the evening about an Israeli drone strike in Damascus. In addition to kinetic military strikes, Israel is also taking legal steps to ensure that Hezbollah's money supply dries up quickly. On Monday, Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant signed a decree declaring that the Qard el-Hassan Association is a terrorist organization. This decision was based on intelligence, legal, and operational opinions and the recommendations of the Chief of Staff and the head of the Shin Bet. The order accuses the association of terrorism, the purchase of illegal weapons, the payment of salaries to terrorists, and the storage of funds of terrorist organizations. According to reports in Arab media portals, the Israeli Air Force is continuing to pound Hezbollah targets in Beirut, as well as in the Bekaa Valley, while ground operations to clear Hezbollah positions for the border with Israel are also ongoing. Guys, here at TBN Israel, we will continue to report the truth about what is happening in Israel and all the latest developments in the war against Hezbollah. But we want you to know that there is another tool that we can use to get this information to you, and that's our website, tbnisrael.com/news. This is where we can bring you current and detailed content, articles about what is happening in Israel. One of the most important principles of warfare is that an army must try not to get into a fight with enemies on more than one front. The United States managed to do it in World War II, but most other countries throughout history that tried to fight a two-front war ended up defeated and broken. Israel has had no choice but to fight a war on two fronts over the past year, as our enemies in both the south and the north attacked us, just like what happened several times in the past. Now, we have active ground campaigns in both the Gaza Strip and southern Lebanon. The IDF announced on Tuesday morning that in the last 24 hours, it has struck 230 terrorist targets of Hamas and Hezbollah in Lebanon and the Gaza Strip together, including 3 headquarters of the Hezbollah Air Unit 127, which is a big part of the Hezbollah campaign to attack Israel with suicide drones. On the ground, the 91st Division continues its offensive and focused activity in the area of southern Lebanon against Hezbollah. This is combined with a defensive posture to protect civilian communities in the Galilee region of Israel. Meanwhile, the forces of the 36th and 146th Divisions operating in southern Lebanon have eliminated terrorists from the ground and from the air in the past 24 hours, as well as capturing weapons and ammunition meant to be used against Israel. Although for reasons of operational security, we cannot reveal precise locations of IDF operations in Lebanon, I can tell you that in the last few days, forces of the 98th Division identified a large Hezbollah encampment, and afterwards, the forces called in an air support to destroy that location. The IDF post-action assessment included 15 Hezbollah terrorists eliminated, along with firing positions and weapon stockpiles that were destroyed. In the Gaza Strip, the forces of Division 162 are still conducting combat operations in the area of Jabalia in the north, with large numbers of civilians evacuating the city along the pre-arranged safe zones. In the course of this evacuation, dozens of terrorists were identified and arrested. Some reportedly surrendered and assisted the IDF troops in identifying other terrorists who were trying to hide amongst the civilians. In the last day, the Air Force, in cooperation with the Southern Command, attacked a launcher in the Rafah area with rockets that were ready to be launched towards the territory of Israel. Elsewhere, the Gaza and the 252nd Divisions destroyed terrorist infrastructure and located weapons. In addition, the forces of the Northern Brigade under the command of the Gaza Division completed a brigade operation in the area of Bet Lahia in the north of the Gaza Strip. The forces destroyed several shafts and a launcher with 5 barrels. Here at TBN Israel, we will continue to update you on what is happening in Gaza against Hamas. Before we move on to the espionage case inside Israel that was revealed yesterday, I would like to ask you, if you want to receive more videos like this one, please consider making a financial donation to TBN Israel. You can do so on the link on YouTube or visit our website at www.tbnisrael.com/give. In a case that has shocked and angered many Israelis, the police and the Shin Bet revealed on Monday afternoon that 7 Jewish Israelis had been arrested and held for the past 35 days on suspicion that they had accepted money from the Iranian agents in return for taking pictures and videos of IDF bases, vital infrastructure, and prominent Israeli individuals. The Israeli Jews who were recruited by Iran for this spy network were all immigrants or the children of immigrants from Azerbaijan, a country bordering Iran and within which shares many cultural traditions. In fact, almost 30% of Iranians are ethnic Azeris, including Supreme Leader Khamenei. These Israeli Jews were arrested in mid-September are suspected of having been passed information to Iranian agents for the last 2 years. Some of the bases that they passed photographs and videos of were targeted by Iran's ballistic missile attack on October 1st. Other bases have been targeted by Hezbollah in recent months, including the Golani Brigade base, where the dining hall was hit by a drone earlier this month, killing 4 soldiers and wounding many others. Other sites they photographed include the Ramat David Air Base, IDF headquarters at the Kiryat in Tel Aviv, Iron Dome batteries, the Hadera power plant, as well as several pictures of the water and electricity production and distribution network in Israel. The state attorney's office submitted a statement on Monday announcing the intention to press formal charges against the 7 alleged spies, which include a father and son, 2 minors, and 1 soldier who is AWOL. The Shin Bet began investigating the case 2 months ago and arrested some of the suspects in the act of following a prominent Israeli citizen with the intention of assassinating him. The state attorney said that this is a unique case in which Israeli suspects acted in the direction of 2 Iranian agents for hundreds of thousands of shekels, which were paid to them in cash and cryptocurrencies. The cash was delivered to them by 3 Russian citizens who arrived in Israel with the cash in their luggage aboard ordinary commercial flights. The state attorney said there was a method here. They collected dozens of documents that list exactly what facility to photograph, what information to collect, and how much money they will earn from it. A detailed price list. The method of operation was to accept a mission, photograph a base, travel there, unload and search for a commanding position to photograph the base from an observation, and finally transfer via encrypted software to the Iranians. The police added that the alleged spies knew exactly what the information that they were passing on the Iranians would be used for, but they were eager to take on more assignments in order to earn more money. The exposure of this spy network that operated in Israel on behalf of Iran highlights the clear division in intelligence work between the Revolutionary Guards and their proxies in the Middle East. The network, exposed by the Shin Bet, was recruited by Iranian recruiters who operated through social media networks and used their familiarity with the mentality and language of Azerbaijani expats in Israel. Iran, which provides its agents with means, methods, and technological know-how, is working to establish a ring of fire around Israel, with the main goal being to hit Israel in a precise and targeted manner. Iran not only plans and carries out attacks through its proxies, the Houthis in Yemen, the Shiite militias in Iraq and Syria, and also Hezbollah in Lebanon, but also controls the targets and the manner of hitting them. This case reveals a worrying picture of extensive and precise espionage efforts on the part of Iran. The failed assassination attempt on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu last Saturday, in which a drone was fired by Hezbollah at his private residence in Caesarea, is an example of the advanced stage reached by the Iranian espionage attempts. However, this also reveals that the Shin Bet and the police have the means to counter Iran's efforts to recruit spies inside our country. The police have issued warnings to the general public to stay alert, pay attention to incoming emails and phone messages that might seem innocent but are meant to be a hook that draws them into Iran's web of espionage. There have been reliable reports for several years now that Iran is using similar methods to get ordinary people in Western countries to engage in activities against Israel and their own governments. If you're not absolutely certain why you're attending an anti-Israel rally at your university or protesting against the mayor of your city because of their public comments on Israel, you should take a moment to consider that you might be getting used by Iran. Do you know who sent you the email telling you that you should go to that protest or rally? Do you know who paid to have the t-shirts with anti-Israel messages on them printed up and then given to people like you for free, just so you wear them around campus? If you don't know the answers to these questions, you owe it to yourself to find out. The disclosure of this alleged espionage ring in Israel points to the developing Iranian espionage capabilities and an ongoing struggle between Iran and the Israeli intelligence services. Israel has succeeded in exposing and thwarting some espionage attempts, but Iran can be expected to continue its efforts to collect critical intelligence on the country. Here at TBN Israel, we will continue to report on the front with Iran. And before we talk about how Iran is trying to defend itself from the Israeli attacks, I would like to ask you to continue spreading the truth, share our videos on YouTube, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and follow us on social media. Take a minute and click the subscribe button so that you will never miss another episode of Boots on the Ground. On Monday, officials in Israel announced that in preparation for an attack on Iran, considerations is also being given to the assassination attempt on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his family. The plans have already been placed on the table of the decision makers by the military echelon and the Mossad. As of this moment, only a small number of people know exactly what the intended attack plan is. Even the pilots who will be flying the strike aircraft will not find out what their targets are until just before taking off, and they also won't know when they're going to be launching the mission until shortly before it gets launched. The attack will only be carried out when all the operational points are connected and allow execution with the lowest risk level that can be assessed. Israel has a wide range of options, from Iran's nuclear facilities, its energy and oil infrastructure, military targets including the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps and other government facilities. As I said before, following the attempted assassination of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the IDF is also considering targeting the private residence of prominent members of the regime that rules in Tehran. The one thing that Israel is definitely not targeting in this strike is ordinary Iranian citizens. Our way is not with them, but with the evil regime that has been brutally tyrannizing these people for almost 50 years now. On a personal note, I hope that by striking this regime hard, Israel can open up a path for these people to take their country back from this evil gang of criminals who have enslaved them for so long. In such an operation, there is a wide range of possibilities, starting from an attack by the Air Force, fighter jets, and refueling and intelligence planes that have already demonstrated capability in Yemen. In fact, the Houthi targets that Israel hit in the past few months were ever further away from Israel than Iran is. Of course, Israel also has an arsenal of ballistic missiles it can use to strike Iran, and I promise you that our missiles are more accurate and powerful than the ones that fired at us from Iran. In other words, Israel has many options, and the Iranian regime definitely has something to worry about, especially Khamenei himself, the spiritual leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran. On that note, I will ask you to please continue to pray for the people of Israel. Pray for the IDF soldiers that are defending us on the border or inside Lebanon already, in the Gaza Strip, in Judea and Samaria, in the air, in the ground, in the sea. Pray for the hostages to be released soon, fast, and healthy back to their loved ones in Israel. And most importantly, unite in prayer for the peace of Jerusalem, and together we will win this war. Thank you for your support, and keep standing with Israel.
Hello, this is Mati here in Jerusalem with TBN Israel.
This is Yair Pinto from TBN Israel here in Jerusalem. TBN Israel is keeping viewers informed with Israel-focused news, culture, and what God is doing in this land.
Support TBN Israel today online at tbn.org/Israel. Thank you.